5 minutes to 5, Newport Beach on PCH southbound. Today, what I want to talk to you about is maximizing your realistic options of escape. It's something you need to do in every situation encountered, whether you're on the street or on the highway. A realistic option of escape, you want to have 3 of them, by the way. And what I mean by realistic is as long as it's within the performance envelope of your vehicle. Now, obviously, this car has a pretty big performance envelope. So what is the performance envelope of your vehicle? Well, that's something with experience you learn out under controlled conditions, either in a solo event or a track day. I encourage everybody to learn what your car can do under controlled conditions out on a racetrack. Short of that, on the street, your tires will start talking to you at about 60-65% of their capability. The noise is vibration. The vibration of the tread block elements echoing within the tread sipes. So when the tires are just starting to talk to you, they're at about 60-65%. Then they get louder until around 95-100%. Your nose gets involved and the tire's smoking. We call it a sublimation process, where you go from a solid to a vapor. Having said that, you can actually learn on the street how the car responds to weight transfer. Because as we used to say at Skip Barber, as long as the nuts and bolts are tight on the car's mass or the weight should not change. But how does weight transfer? Well, this is where the fuzzy dice hanging from your mirror come in. The fuzzy dice will always point to the tires that have the most traction. So if you squeeze down on the brake, the fuzzy dice swing forward. So think about it. If you have a balloon and you put a piece of paper on the table, try to pull the paper out, the harder you push down on that balloon, the harder it is to pull that piece of paper out. And that's essentially how a tire responds on the pavement as well. The more weight you transfer onto a tire through either braking or cornering or acceleration, again, the fuzzy dice will always point to the tire with the most weight on them. That tire will give you the most traction, fine. But what's really important about this model is not so much where the weight is and where the fuzzy dice are pointed, it's where it's not pointed, because the weight had to come from somewhere. So if you're on the brakes, the weight's on the nose, and maybe your realistic option of escape includes maybe a turn to the left, there's no weight on the rear, because all the weight's on the front. Now, of course, I'm not speaking in absolutes, it's relative. Point being, the nanosecond you turn that wheel to the left, with all that monster weight and traction on it, that car is going to respond with a left turn in a big way. And the back end, which has very little weight on it, will start to slide past the front. Well, guess what? That's called a rotation. And that might be indeed what's needed to get the car pointed in the right direction, because maybe, just maybe, with the car rotated now, if you can get the back end to stick, you could accelerate through a hole on the left and get yourself out of trouble. But here's the thing. During that moment, you have a huge adrenaline dump, and that seems to slow things down, and that buys you extra time. Your internal body clock speeds up, and you're able to process more information in the same amount of time. And you can do one of 2 things, the right thing or the wrong thing. The right thing to do is to instinctively recall what you have developed through muscle memory out on the racetrack to get the car to respond the way you want and get it pointed in the right direction. Okay, so now you got this adrenaline dump, the back end's coming around, but wait a minute, if there's no weight back there, we want to get the fuzzy dice pointing back there. How do we do that? Well, if we're sitting at a stoplight like we are right now and the fuzzy dice are hanging down, if I squeeze down on the gas pedal like I'm about to do right here, the fuzzy dice now point to the rear. But if you have a lot of horsepower like this, if the back end's already coming around and you give it a healthy amount of gas, those back tires are going to light up and you're going to finish yourself off. So during the adrenaline dump, what you do is you think of just setting your foot on the gas pedal. And in doing so, you're probably going to give it just enough gas to get those tires spinning again, matched up to vehicle speed, and then you can squeeze it and get the car going in the right direction. Now, remember Coach in driver's ed, he said turn towards the direction of the skid. Well, let's see, which way is the skid? If the car's going around this way, do you turn the wheel to the left because that's the way things are looking, or do you turn them to the right? Well, you know what you do is you just simply steer in the direction you want to go. Forget all that craziness about steering towards the direction of the skid. You don't need to do that. Instead, just point the nose where you want to go, set your foot on the gas pedal, give it a little bit of gas, and carry on. That's basically how you maximize your realistic option of escape using the gas pedal. The final option of escape really involves an impact, and it's a frontal impact because the cars are designed to take an impact better from the nose because you have a lot of crush. In other words, the car is designed to fold in a predictable fashion to absorb the crash ride down energy from the front better than it is from the side. Because look, on the side you got maybe a foot, whereas from the nose on this car you got 5 or 6 feet. So you want to make that your last resort, but don't be afraid to do an impact in the nose if your other two options of escape disappear.